Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. Marvel revealed a bunch of new details about Black Panther 3. There's also more reports on which new characters they're introducing and how it fits into the new version of the MCU after the soft reboot they're doing with Avengers Secret Wars and Avengers Doomsday. They also mentioned the new T'Challa by name. I know there are a lot of questions about how they're going to handle him. Like, next big question is which version of T'Challa is going to be in the movie, because there have been a couple we've heard about in the past year that they're going to meet during Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. We still have all kinds of questions about what's going on with Denzel Washington in the movie. We've actually been hearing more about the movie from him than from Marvel themselves, just because he talks so much about it, and Marvel knows there's nothing that they can do to get him to stop talking about it. Marvel does not tell Denzel what to do, Denzel tells Marvel what to do. Marvel has also recently changed their Phase 7 movie schedule recently, so that's everything that happens after Secret Wars, basically like the new era of the MCU. So I'll explain which movies are coming out right after Secret Wars and what they have changed. Some movies and TV shows were canceled and some got added. One of the more surprising things about this report is that Black Panther 3 will get bigger in scope, escalate from Wakanda Forever, which isn't the surprise. The surprise is that it'll set up a huge space-based crisis with an alien threat. I would not have expected Ryan Coogler to introduce aliens as a threat during a Black Panther movie, but they have done that in the comics before. The other big surprise is they're supposedly introducing the Savage Land in the new version of the MCU, which would be a really huge deal. Like, it's a big place in the comics. They deal with it heavily during X-Men the Animated Series and X-Men 97 more recently. We'll see it more in the future on those shows too. But it does make sense that the next era of the MCU is so X-Men and mutant heavy. Right now we're getting ready for Avengers Doomsday later this year, and it is all about a huge crisis in space. They literally mention it during the Thunderbolts post-credit scene. During that Black Panther Fantastic Four crossover trailer for Avengers Doomsday, Shuri seems like she's ready to die, like she's preparing her people for death, and she thinks that there's no way to solve it. But the really big alien threat, technically during that movie, isn't so much an alien threat, it's somebody from another universe, it's Doctor Doom and the Incursions just in general. So what new alien threat could there be after Doctor Doom and the Incursions? We already did Thanos, the Chitauri, the Skrulls, the Kree during Marvel Phase 1, 2, 3, and 4. We also did many versions of Kang during Loki, Ant-Man the Wasp: Quantumania, but they also canonized him as a human from Earth during that series too, so he's also technically not an alien either.
So let's stop wasting time.
I know everybody would love to see Jonathan Majors' version of Kang come back at some point in the future, or a version of Kang come back in the future. But working down the list of biggest possibilities, most of you probably figured this out already. Next really big comic book alien empire that they could introduce would be the Shi'ar Empire. They are endemic to the X-Men comics. They were used heavily, like I said, during X-Men Animated Series, X-Men 97. We'll see more of them in the future. Marvel Phase 7, the next era of the MCU, is mostly focused on mutants and X-Men characters. It just makes sense that they would introduce the Shi'ar Empire as one of the next big space-based groups in the movies so they can interact with them more in the movies. Mostly because they are really important for another new character that they're introducing in Spider-Man Brand New Day, Jean Grey, Sadie Sink, because of the Phoenix Force. The Phoenix Force is one of the gods of the Shi'ar Empire. They literally worship it. Marvel's biggest space-based franchise in the movies so far have been the Guardians of the Galaxy movies and all the people that they encounter. Captain Marvel movies are also kind of a space-based franchise too, because they have the Kree, the Skrulls. Really, when you think about the space-based movies, you mostly think of the Guardians though. James Gunn would have done more Guardians movies with Rocket's team eventually if he'd had stayed at Marvel, but it makes sense that Star-Lord, the other characters, would encounter the Shi'ar at some point. It has just been such a big part of Marvel Comics up to this point, but not of the Marvel movies because of lawyers, because Fox X-Men movies had the IP rights to the Shi'ar Empire. So much of the MCU is going to rely on all these brand new characters that they now have the rights to for the next 10 years. It just makes sense that all the other big groups that we've already seen in the MCU start to interact with them so that they can all cross them over and it all makes sense going forward. How do you connect the Black Panther movies to what's happening with the X-Men movies on their side of things? Like, how do you connect them to what will eventually become the next big Phoenix saga that they'll probably do in like 10 or plus years? Do not worry, they're not going to rush their Phoenix arc. Kevin Feige isn't going to go from like 0 to Phoenix right away. We literally just got through X-Men Dark Phoenix, and it did not do well. He probably wants to let the dust settle on that for a good long while so people slowly forget about it. There is no X-Men Dark Phoenix movie. It can't hurt you.
You can't hurt anyone anymore.
Introducing the Shi'ar during Black Panther 3 would feel a lot like Marvel introducing their new main version of Jean Grey with Sadie Sink in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Like, very unexpected place to introduce them as characters, but interesting twists on the idea. There was also a big space-based plot that they set up for Black Panther at the end of the Jonathan Hickman version of Secret Wars that they could also tie into Black Panther 3 because they're basically using Secret Wars to set up the next era of Marvel, so there'll be lots of teasers and clues for where the movies head next during Secret Wars in a way that there weren't during Avengers Endgame. To be fair though, when the Russos came back to direct Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars and Robert Downey Jr. came back to do Doctor Doom, they also did say that their version of Avengers Doomsday would be more of a direct sequel to Avengers Endgame. So they'd be creating a lot of connections based on consequences to things that happened during Endgame that they didn't originally intend on doing when they did that movie in the first place. For the most part, they're going to use Secret Wars for the Black Panther subplot to introduce this new version of T'Challa that will become the main version of T'Challa after Secret Wars. This is where all the Damson Idris Black Panther talk has been coming from, because people think that he might be in Avengers Doomsday or Secret Wars as this new version of T'Challa that shows up, or the aged-up version of T'Challa's son, who is also named T'Challa. Shuri is still meant to be the main Black Panther in Avengers Doomsday. We've already spotted her in some of the behind-the-scenes footage, and obviously we have that Fantastic Four crossover trailer for Doomsday they just released. I don't know if she's going to be in Secret Wars, but I believe that we'll see that new T'Challa in Secret Wars. Here's where we actually get to the movie schedule in Marvel Phase 7. This is right after Avengers Secret Wars starting in 2028. So Marvel changed some of the dates for the movies. Now there's one coming out in May, in July. There were a couple movies on the board before, like one in February and one in May, and they changed those. They took the one in February off the board. That was supposed to be Black Panther. So originally Black Panther 3 was going to be coming out just a couple months after Avengers Secret Wars, like very first movie in Marvel Phase 7. Now the first movie in Marvel Phase 7 seems like it's going to be the new X-Men reboot movie in May. Originally, Doomsday and Secret Wars were going to be May movies until they needed to delay them. We know the new version of the main MCU X-Men team is going to debut during that, with the exception of Wolverine. Wolverine isn't supposed to be in that movie because eventually they're going to introduce a brand new version of MCU Wolverine with a different actor at some point.
They'd be lucky to have you.
But we do know that Sadie Sink's version of Jean Grey is going to be the Jean Grey of that team going forward. We're going to get a new version of Professor X, so he and that X-Men team have a long history with the Shi'ar Empire because of Jean Grey and the Phoenix Force and Lilandra and Professor X. But you can see how all this is a way to keep the new version of Black Panther movies in general, connected to the X-Men movies and the Phoenix saga going forward the next 10-20 years of Marvel. Part of the whole idea of Marvel going forward after Secret Wars is that everybody's going to be on the same planet, like Black Panther characters, X-Men characters, Fantastic Four characters, Avengers characters, like pretty much everybody you've ever seen in a Marvel movie before, all going to come from the same Earth. The only bummer here is that it sounds like the other big X-Men character who you would want to cross over with the Black Panther movies would be Storm because of her relationship with T'Challa. You're doing a new version of T'Challa. Even if it's not the original Chadwick Boseman version of T'Challa, you can still do that Storm-T'Challa relationship going forward in the movies, but it just sounds like they're going to wait longer before introducing the Storm character, and it'll be that first X-Men movie. I know there are going to be a lot of questions about Savage Land in Black Panther. The reason why they'd introduced Savage Land in Black Panther 3 is also because it was part of the Fox X-Men IP for so long. Marvel didn't have rights to it, and there is vibranium there. Like, that's the real big connection to the Black Panther lore. The whole idea with the Savage Land is that it exists in Antarctica. It was created by an alien called Nuwali and served as sort of a game preserve for the Beyonders in the comics as a time capsule to the prehistoric age with dinosaurs, animals, plants from 65 million years ago. So it's a little bit like Little Garden in the One Piece canon. Magneto eventually creates a secret base there. They all did a lot of this stuff during the original X-Men the animated series. They spent a lot of time during the Savage Land. There are also other mutants that live there as well. One of the other surprises of this new report is they're going to introduce Khazar during the movie, and the new T'Challa will meet him.
Quiet, Zabu. Now is not the time.
He was a British nobleman's son in the comics who discovered a new type of vibranium in the Savage Land, then creates a key to unleash its power, gives 2 halves of the key to his 2 sons. One of the sons, Kevin Plunder, aka Khazar, hides in the Savage Land from villains trying to take the key so that they can use the power of the vibranium. He then grows up to become the protector of the Savage Land, and he's a little bit like Marvel's version of Tarzan. He does have powers. He's infused with blood from Man-Thing, who we've seen in the MCU already, connecting him to the Savage Land on a biological level. He can manipulate flora and fauna, mimic the abilities of animals who live there, which mostly manifests like physical enhancements like big stat boosts, making him stronger than, say, like Spider-Man, but not nearly as strong as the Hulk. I know there's going to be a ton of questions about how Denzel Washington fits into all this, which character is he going to play. There's still lots of rumors about that, so open all your tabs and make all the theories you want to about that. This is still pretty early days, but everybody post all your theories in the comments below. Just be sure to hold them loosely because movies change a lot while they're making it. Ryan Coogler said that Black Panther Wakanda Forever changed several times while he was making the movie, so the plot at the beginning when he started was very different from the plot when he actually released the movie. Whatever they wind up releasing, of course I will do videos for it, and of course we'll see more Black Panther stuff going on in the Avengers Doomsday teaser trailers and full trailers that they release soon. Just expect more of those as we get closer to Spider-Man Brand New Day coming out. I already did a much bigger video for that trailer that they did just release. Click here for that, and click here for all my Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.